Hello, today we are going to be doing the bath bomb experiment, and so we are going to make 5 different bath bombs, and each bath bomb we are going to leave out one different ingredient to see how each bath bomb reacts with water. We will find out which ingredients can cause fizzing and which ingredients don't cause fizzing. So our first ingredient is baking soda, and then we have citric acid, we have salt, we have sugar, and we have oil. So baking soda, I have measured out 2 teaspoons. Citric acid, I have 1 teaspoon. For salt and sugar, I also have 1 teaspoon. And this oil, I have 20 milliliters, but each one we're going to do 4 bath bombs that have oil. So we are going to have 5 milliliters of oil for each bath bomb. So our first bath bomb that we are going to make is without baking soda, so we are not going to use baking soda, we're going to leave it out. So we're going to use citric acid, salt, sugar, and oil. I also have this beaker kind of thing, and this was for my epoxy experiment, so I'm going to use this to mix the ingredients together. So we are going to add 1 teaspoon of citric acid, I already measured out 1 teaspoon. And then we're going to add just a little bit of salt, so maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. And then we're going to add some sugar, and I'm just going to rinse this to avoid contamination. So we are going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, and then we are going to add 5 milliliters of oil. So right now I just have 4 up here. Just gonna add 1 more. So I have 1 milliliter, squeeze it in. So now I'm just going to mix these ingredients that are in this beaker, and then we're going to test it out and make other bath bombs and see what happens. So I have a straw, and I'm just going to mix these ingredients together. To make sure I mix it well. Okay, so I've mixed it. So now I'm going to add some water after I make the other bath bombs, and we're going to see what happens. So now that I have completed this first bath bomb mixture, now I'm going to create the second one. The second one, we are going to leave out citric acid this time, and we're going to use baking soda, salt, sugar, and oil. So I'm going to mix this up. I can see a different texture already because we added more baking soda than we did with citric acid. So it's not as watery because there's more baking soda than oil. I'm going to make sure I mix it thoroughly. Now that I have done so, I'm going to put this aside, and then I'm going to make the next one. So for our third bath bomb, we are not going to use oil, so our ingredients are baking soda, citric acid, salt, and sugar. So I have all my ingredients. So I have 1 teaspoon of citric acid. I have 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and then I have some salt and sugar that I'm going to add into this other beaker. So now that I have that, it's all dry because they're all the solid ingredients, so now I'm just going to mix them well. so now that I'm done mixing them well, I'm going to put this aside, and then I'm going to make my fourth bath bomb. For my fourth bath bomb, I'm going to not use my salt, so I'm going to use the baking soda, the citric acid, the sugar, and the oil. So now I'm just going to mix this well. So now I'm just mixing this really well to make sure that this will be accurate. Now that I'm sure that I've mixed it all well, I'm going to make my last bath bomb mixture. So I'm not going to use my sugar, so I'm going to use the baking soda, I'm going to use the citric acid, I'm going to use the salt, and I'm going to use the oil. Okay. So now I'm just going to mix it well. Okay, so now that I know that I've mixed it well, I have my 5 bath bomb mixtures ready to go. So I have numbered each of these beakers based on the order we did them. So the first one we did was without baking soda. The second one we did was without citric acid. The third one we did was without oil. And the fourth one we did was without salt. And then the fifth one we did was without sugar. So now I have about the same amount of water. So I'm just going to squeeze them in each one, and then we're going to do it together to see if there's any fizzing, and we'll see it up close. So I'm going to squeeze them. Now I'm just going to add a little more water. Gonna mix. So as the mixtures of the bath bomb 3, 4, and 5, they're still bubbling and fizzing. We know that 3, 4, and 5 are fizzing, and 1, 2, they did not fizz. 1, 2 just kind of dissolved. The water kind of dissolved the things, but didn't really bubble. So only 3, 4, and 5 did bubble. So that means that 3 and 4 and 5, what ingredients were they missing? So this one, number 3, was missing oil, but it still bubbled. So that means that oil, does that matter? The fourth one, we were missing salt, but it's still bubbling. So we don't need salt in order for it to bubble. The fifth one, we did not add sugar, and it still bubbled. So we did not need sugar for it to bubble. So we had 5 ingredients. So we had citric acid, baking soda, salt, sugar, oil. So we did not need oil, we did not need salt, we did not need sugar. So we needed baking soda and citric acid. Therefore, we can conclude that baking soda and citric acid are the important ingredients for the bath bomb to fizz and bubble. So without the baking soda or without the citric acid, there would not be any fizzing or bubbling. I hope you enjoyed this experiment, and if you would like to see the videos of the individual ones below, there's some links below that you can check out. Bye!